how we respond internally to any challenge that shows up is based on our willingness to keep it in perspective and persevere on our quest to create what we want in life, despite any obstacles that come our way, as we continue to move ourselves in the direction of a life we are meant to live. Welcome to Journeys Through Change, a podcast that inspires women to let go of the fear and say yes to possibility. I'm your host, Noelle Van, an author, creator, and empowerment coach who spent years in corporate America helping innovators and leaders ride the waves of change with ease and grace. I now work with women to step into change and unleash the power they have to create a life they love. Whether you're contemplating a change in your career, relationship, health, lifestyle, or anything in between, nothing's off the table. I'll be offering up simple insights to help you manage the ups and downs of change and sharing interviews with successful women who took a leap of faith to create the life they knew they were meant to live, sharing their wisdom, advice, and all the juicy lessons they learned along the way. So get cozy in your favorite comfy chair and let's get started. Today we are diving into the fifth pillar of our 6-week Changemaker series, and the topic is resiliency. I love this topic because it has everything to do with how we cope with our world when the ground is shifting beneath our feet. Your ability to be resilient at any time in your life can either make or break your experience. Resiliency is characterized by a range of attributes that enable you to effectively cope with, adapt to, and recover from adversity. Now, the thing about adversity is that it's so subjective. What may feel like a struggle to me may be fine for you. So let's just say it's the ability to adapt to what we perceive as adversity. Now, I'm clarifying this because I think there are ways for us to reframe our notion of adversity or challenge as well, making a seemingly difficult roadblock actually increase our strength and resilience. But more on this in a bit. The truth is, the challenges that show up in life are actually the best ways for us to supercharge our resilience. So in order for us to strengthen our resilience muscle, so to speak, I thought it would be helpful to discuss a few ways to become more resilient so we can incorporate them into our lives, especially in times of challenge or change. Now, one thing I've learned over the years, especially in the world of entrepreneurship, is that nothing is unsolvable. And throughout the course of our days, we will likely be faced with numerous situations that call for us to move and flex in any given direction. Shifts in focus or obstacles that cause us to pivot are all a part of our experience, and how we approach these constant twists and turns will inevitably make or break our success moving forward. Now, I've also found that resilience comes much easier if we can manage our emotions around a situation long enough to figure out a way to work through it. Now, I don't know about you, but I spent a majority of my young life responding to challenges or adversity with an immediate emotional response. In retrospect, this is where taking on a role of victim comes into play, where we perceive the obstacles in our life as happening to us and then react from a place of helplessness or fear when they show up. I think as time goes on, we start to realize that this is nothing more than an emotional response. Now, we know emotions are important to access and express, but in certain situations, relying only on our emotions can often send us in the wrong direction, really paralyzing us at a time when thinking clearly and taking action are necessary to get us through. Emotion can often cause drama that just stops us in our tracks, becoming nothing more than a distraction. When we talk about ways of tapping into our resiliency with greater ease, emotional regulation comes up as first on my list. Emotional regulation is our ability to manage our emotions and reactions in stressful situations. Now, over the past few years, I've personally had to learn to reprogram how I respond to stressful situations because when I decided to start my own business, I stepped into the role of business owner. And now it was up to me to weather the storms and find solutions to challenges that came up often on a daily basis. Changes often needed to be made on the fly, and to keep things moving, this required a clear head and objective mindset to just address them in a successful way. Now, this is just one example. For you, challenges may show up in your personal life where you need to make an immediate decision based on a relationship change or in response to a family emergency. Whatever it is, how do we handle these shifts in life, big or small, without hitting the panic button? I think the first thing is knowing your limitations. If you're someone whose initial reaction is to lose it when things go south, I have an exercise for you. As soon as I'm hit with an unexpected situation or problem that requires my attention or a change in direction, I come up with a few scenarios in my head. This is my way of immediately making it more manageable. I usually think of a best, worst, and middle of the road scenario. So I've now given myself options. Now, this automatically switches my mind out of reactive mode and into a more objective space, where I can weigh out the situation and decide my next move, giving my brain time to adjust to this new set of circumstances. Emotion is completely out of it, and it has suddenly become a problem that is solvable and just needs a decision to make it happen. I found this is a great way to reduce the stress I used to feel by reacting impulsively when an issue came up. Thinking more analytically about anything strips away the emotion and puts you in the driver's seat to work through potential solutions. Number 2 is mindset. Maintaining a hopeful and positive attitude, even in difficult times. Holding a belief in the possibility of positive outcomes and future success is so important. So taking the exercise I just described, once I'm able to see the situation as one that offers me options, I immediately feel less constricted by it because I know I have a few ways to address it. And it's really just a matter of choice at that point. How do I want to move forward? Once again, putting myself in control of the situation. Now, our willingness to adapt to new circumstances or change of plans as needed is critical. This really allows us to view these forks in the road as opportunities for growth rather than soul-crushing problems. As we've discussed in past episodes, positive mindset is all about choice. The more you take control in your life, and we do this, by the way, by owning our experience and finding the bright side of any given situation, the better off you'll be when addressing any challenges that come up. Now, number 3 is persistence and determination. Having the tenacity to stay committed to your goals and persisting despite setbacks is huge. Bouncing back from failures and continuing to strive for success is resilience at its finest. Now, a way to tap into this inner strength is to make sure you remind yourself of the bigger picture when these challenges show up. I often bring up the image of a blip on the screen or a minor detour as opposed to a major roadblock. Whatever imagery works for you, it's all in how you perceive the situation that determines your ultimate outcome. Which brings me back to my point earlier about reframing our perception of adversity. I want you to start thinking about adversity and challenge as stepping stones to greater strength, building blocks to that next level of personal growth. Now, I know this may seem difficult at times, but all that's put in your path is meant to make you stronger. Knowing that the more practice you put in, the more powerful you become at handling anything that comes your way. Now, these are just some of the ways to strengthen your resilience, and all it takes is practice to start becoming a master at weathering the storms of life with greater ease and grace. Now, here's a random fact. I did my junior theme years ago on a book by Viktor Frankl, and it was called Man's Search for Meaning. It's a very heavy book, and it was a retrospective on his experience during the Holocaust and the remarkable resilience of the human spirit he witnessed all around him during one of the darkest times in history. One of my favorite quotes of his is, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Now, I take this quote to heart, knowing, as in all things in life, how we respond internally to any challenge that shows up is based on our willingness to keep it in perspective and persevere on our quest to create what we want in life, despite any obstacles that come our way, as we continue to move ourselves in the direction of a life we are meant to live. That's it for now. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Journeys Through Change podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or really wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to follow us and leave a review if you've enjoyed this episode. And share it with a friend or on social media to spread the good word, so more women like you can find us and join in on the fun. For more information on the podcast or Day by Day book, go to livedaybyday.com.